welcome Fall Out Boy.
So let me ask everybody a question. What is punk rock? Now that should seem like a simple enough question to answer, but kids and critics argue with fervor and furious devotion of opposing religious sects or political parties or Star Wars fans. So I guarantee that someone somewhere will be very pissed off when I say this, and come on, what's more punk rock than pissing people off? When I say one of my all-time favorite punk bands is Green Day. So I remember the first time I heard Green Day. In a little background, I was a little bit of a music snob when I was a kid. My dad was a Chicago folk singer. He'd be very psyched to see all the other bands that are here today. And we played a lot of fusion jazz around the house, so you can imagine I was pretty out of step with my friends who were enthralled with the grunge era and the advent of gangster rap. So one day some friends got me to sneak out of class. We were going to pretend to be bad kids, you know. And mostly we just went to the hallway and listened to this cassette tape that one of them had. It was Dookie. And the thing So the thing that struck me right off the bat was how musical it was. It was all the things that you'd expect in punk rock. It was angry, it was loud, it was fast. But there were these subtle overtones of an awareness of music theory and music history that were wise beyond its years. Now, the other kids had Guns N' Roses and Nirvana, and I fell in love with those things later, but in 1994, none of that was true. This one I was like, this is mine. After that, I was all in. I tried to dress like them. I tried to play my dad's acoustic real low like Billie Joe did, and it did not look cool on me. I followed every interview. I watched every TV performance. And the more immersed in their world I got, the more I could tell that this band was one of the greats. Great bands have to be on the strength of the collective. You have to think to yourself, wow, how did they get all these guys in one band together? Now, the thing that, kills me, sometimes you have a band that you really like and you think, yeah, they should maybe be in the Hall of Fame, but then maybe not everyone's pulling their weight. Maybe you see one guy and you're like, yeah, he's cool, but I don't know, maybe he just drove the van or something. But with Green Day, every sound that came out of these three guys was as important to the entire thing. I mean, it was that you couldn't remove one guy. Billie Joe's signature snarl and sarcastic lyrics, that eternal beautiful voice, those bright open chord structures. The way a silhouette of him playing guitar would be as recognizable a posture to any punk rock kid as Michael Jordan's mid-air dunk. Dirnt. Aggressively, tinny tone, and those melodic bass lines put him in my mind, if you're ready to piss more people off. Up there with the likes of James Jamerson and Jockey Stores is one of the most identifiable bass players in the history of bass playing. When you turn on the radio, you know Tre Cool. Your drummer is named Tre fucking Cool. That is the coolest thing ever. And there's not a drummer under the age of 30 in Testament, yes? Who didn't spend an entire summer trying to learn to play that rapid-fire fill at the beginning of Basket Case, just like Tre. And guess what? No one can. He's the only one that does it right, with the passion, and he makes it look easy. It's incredible.
Now, no one else can really do anything the way Green Day does. I have this memory of Billie Joe, who did this interview on MTV somewhere around the Awesome Departure album, Nimrod, where he said something along the lines of, I don't want to be making punk rock for the rest of my life. Sorry, man, you still are. When he followed up with massive major label debut with a single about methamphetamine, and another one that had two movements that was pretty punk rock. When conventional wisdom demanded another fast, loud punk song, and instead you put down a stripped-down ballad as a single, which became the go-to prom song for a decade, that was pretty punk rock. When you put out a three-companion album in a year and an era of digital singles, that was pretty punk rock. When you put out an acoustic folk album at the time when radio was ruled by obviously Green Day-inspired pop punk, that was pretty punk rock. When in an era of basically no socially conscious discourse in pop music, you put out a scathingly political rock opera and somehow managed to make that your career redefining, Grammy-winning, smashing to mention your alleged involvement in the genre-bending side projects like The Network and Foxborough Hot Tubs. We all know it's you. Everything you guys do is punk rock in the sense that you've never gone for the easy route, the obvious route, the safe route. You've never repeated yourselves, and you've never done anything to please the suits. Suits aren't really pleased by change, but when a great band plays through a set of their hits, there should be a lot of change. Like Queen, The Who, or The Clash, the best bands both defy and define the labels they get saddled with. The best bands are legend on record and on stage. Now I have to say, getting off script for a second, the impact that Green Day has had on pop culture. When we walk through an airport, about 80% of the time when someone takes a picture with us, you hear them walk off and they're like, holy shit, I just got a picture with fucking Green Day. That's totally true. Now, Fall Out Boy has never had the honor of playing with Green Day, and honestly, a part of us kind of likes it that way. Because Green Day is literally one of the best live bands on the planet Earth. If you've ever opened for them, they put on a show that's so epic and engaging, the audience absolutely forgets about you by the way they're halfway through their first chorus, and an assault of confetti cannons. And if you've ever played after them, sorry. This is a band that's so in tune with their audience that they let a random kid come on stage and play in the band. In arenas, they literally fulfilled the improbable daydream that every kid has playing on stage with their favorite band. And that's the kind of balls you build up not through image consultants, clever A&R, or media training, but by cutting your teeth in community halls and basements and crust punk squats. So let some Reddit feed argue the definition of punk rock. Me, I already have my answer. It is our great honor to induct Green Day into the Rock and Roll.
Well, thank you, Fall Out Boy. That fucking made me cheer up a few times. And thank all you fuckers coming here. We love you. They don't let drummers use teleprompters. So I wrote this shit old school on a fucking typewriter. No, actually. Okay, but music is the force that gets us up in the morning. It's also the shit that keeps us up all night. We're all in this room together to celebrate music, and it's a beautiful thing. It's overwhelming, the amount of talent and love in the room. It's overwhelming. And when we were on tour in our yellow Ford Econoline that we called the Tube, we were playing punk clubs, squats, backyard parties. We were screen printing t-shirts on Billie Joe's guitar case and hanging them in people's backyards, sleeping on floors, couches, wherever we could. I didn't think back then that we'd be here now in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I thought it would take at least another year or two. But we grow older, we change, and we get weird, and weirder and crazier. It's awesome. We grow together, and with every beat of the drum, you know, our love for music gets even stronger. And being inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is an enormous honor. And I'd like to mention a few people who make my crazy world turn around. My beautiful wife, Sarah Rose. Ramona and Frankie, my kids. My mom and dad, Frank and Linda. My sister, Lori, who actually brought music into our home at an early age. And I love you all. Of course, Billy and Mike. Love you. The big three. Jason, Jeff. Kenny Butler. Over there. Love him. Pat Magnarella. Chris Dugan. Bill Snyder. Chris fucking Lord Algie. Mike Amato. Rob Light. Rob Cavallo. Mike the Zach Fasano. John Passman. Steve K. Mike Ciprari from SJC Drums. Love those. Love you. Larry Livermore, who gave me the name Tre Cool when I was a wee lad of about 11 or 12, and I fought him as hard as I could on that, but I'm fucking stuck with it. I'm in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now. King Kong, bass player for the Lookouts. Kick-ass dude. Paul and Sue, my Aunt Jenny, my Aunt Sue, and my cousin Kenny, Uncle Mark, Reprise Records, and I owe so much to my favorite drummers, Ringo Starr, Keith Moon, Mitch Mitchell, Charlie Watts, Buddy Rich, John Wright from No Means No, Alex Van Halen, Dave Bellow, Aaron Elliott, Al Schmitz, and extra special thanks to my good buddy and drummer extraordinaire, John Kiffmeyer, right over there. Also from the Green Day Idiot Nation, love you, thank you.
I got a couple things, no particular order. First and foremost, I also have a mom who gave me a guitar, a little pawn shop bass, and it only had 2 strings on it. They were flat wounds, but luckily for me, they were A and E, so I was halfway there. I'd like to thank radio. I'm a big fan of radio. I like good radio shows. I hate commercials, but I love good radio shows. So, there's something about a radio show that when we're listening to it, we're all connected, and it's that human connection that I really have always resonated with. Lawrence Livermore, you created Lookout Records. You started a small record label for all the right reasons, and you gave a home to a lot of bands, and for that I want to thank you. Huge thank you to all the kids who booked us in small vets, halls, and backyards. In Europe, all the people who booked us in clubs and squats. And to the hundreds of people whose floors you let us sleep on, thank you very much. Those were life-changing experiences, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Randomly, I would like to thank the Ford Motor Company for creating the 40 Econoline van, the best damn van any celebrity van could have. Reprise Records. Thank you guys, all of you guys, no matter what era you were there. We have a few other people. Let's see, Brian Bumbury, Jen Adler, Bill V, Chris Lord Algie. You guys have been with us a very long time. And even longer, Pat Magnarella, our manager. Pat, you have very thick skin, you're very patient. Nobody in the world would have let us be ourselves the way you have, and we truly appreciate you. To Michael Mayer and everybody involved with the American Media Stage production. This is as close as we'll ever get to seeing Green Day live, and it will always be a highlight of our lives. Thank you very much. I'm sure a lot of musicians in this room will, and everybody who are family of musicians can understand this one. I want to thank our friends and family at home for allowing us to be gone so much of our lives and still being there for us. You've done a lot to us over the years, and it still really does. Thank you. To the Armstrong family, I want to thank you guys for taking me in as a kid, figuratively and literally. Thanks for letting me live with you. To my amazing wife, Brittany, you're a wonderful mother. You kicked cancer's ass last year. my children, Estelle, my little daughter, my son Brixton at home, and my daughter Ryan at home. I love you guys, and each one of you is my entire world. Thank you. Wrapping it up here. To every one of our fans and Canadian Nation, this is much more about you guys than it is about me. And I'm very proud to share this life on Earth with you. Thank you. Last but not least, to my two brothers behind me on stage here. It's been way too many years to want to count. I love you guys. I'll see you at band practice.
Gratitude that I feel right now is overwhelming, and I didn't really know how to prepare for something like this. So I couldn't really write a speech. So I'm just gonna make it up at the top of my head with a few talking points. So, I mean, first up, I just want to thank my family, my boys, Jacob and Joey. You guys broke the way out. And Adrian, I love you. You're married forever. And it's a rare thing in this crazy rock world. And I love you so much. I gotta thank my mom, Ollie Louise Armstrong. She's from Oklahoma, Jersey, California. You and Dad had 6 kids. I'm the youngest one, and like my house, the one thing that I'm so grateful for is all the music that is in our house. It's like my brother, my oldest brother Alan. We had first of all, I heard the Beatles and the Stones and the Kinks, and we used to come to his house and sleep over there, and we'd watch Showtime at night, and I'd watch Alice Cooper, and at 12 o'clock, that's a good time to watch it. My sister Marcy was pretty much the person that showed me Elvis Presley for the first time, and thank you. And my sister Holly is like, Cool in the gang. And my sister Anna, and basically, that record collection that you have turned my world inside out. Thank you so much. If there's anything, it's like a lot of people here right now. It's like my record collection is actually sitting in this room. The fact that I got to hear an album like Horses by Patti Smith, man. And there you are, standing right now. I love it. And my brother David, we listened to Led Zeppelin and Van Halen, and Cheap Trick, Pyromania by Def Leppard, and a few others that hopefully will be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame sooner. So it was like, my house was like rock and roll high school. I mean, literally, it was nuts. I mean, all my friends would come to my house and say, where do you smoke weed at? It's like, go to the Armstrong house. No, I know. My bandmates, Mike, me and Mike got together. Our school district went bankrupt, so they closed down the main junior high, and they combined the 2 elementary schools to come together. And so he went to one elementary, and I went to the other, and I just had to take the bus out there. And first day of elementary school, or in I think 5th grade, I walk up, and then I was like the class clown, but Mike was like the class clown. And so it was kind of like this dueling banjos that was going to go back and forth. It was like, so, you know, we both are, you know, what you get is deliverance. And I went to a show. Well, anyways, Mike, you are my musical soulmate, man. I love you so much. And I thank you so much for everything, your friendship, your family. I love you. And I met Tré was playing with his band called the Lookouts, and they were they have this really young drummer, and he was wearing a old lady shower cap and a tutu. And so that's the first time I saw Tré, and I was like, and then I don't know. And then, you know, as years went by, we got to know each other. We just seeing him at shows and things like that, and then he joined the band, and I don't know, it was just amazing, an amazing drummer. One of my favorite drummers of all time. I mean, there was one instrument that I love to hear, and it's because my father was a jazz drummer, my brother was a drummer, my uncle was a drummer. I'm the oddball, and but Tré is phenomenal, and he pushes, and he's the most dangerous drummer on the planet. I love this guy. And there was this backyard party that Sweet Children played. That was us before Green Day, and the kid that was filling in at the time, we and Mike were looking for a drummer, and this guy was in this crazy band called Isocracy. His name is John Kiffmeyer, also known as he's a couple years older, and at the time, it was like a veteran in our in that community. And you know, John, thank you so much. You know, God, I love you. God bless your family. Thank you so much. And I don't know. And what can I say? Lookout Records, like, you know, it's so rare that you get to have like an independent label that is putting out bands that are in a scene that are like a place like Gilman Street, from where we come from. And they were putting out my favorite records at the time, whether it was Crimshine, Operation Ivy, I saw Tim Armstrong, I love you, brother. Yeah, we had this gig that John booked, and it was going to be on top of this mountain in Mendocino. So we drive up there, and we're supposed to play at the Lookouts, and Tré booked the show. So we drive all the way up to the top of this mountain, and we play in this cabin that didn't have a roof or electricity. Now, how the hell you're supposed to have a gig, I have no idea. But they got some generators, and we plugged in, and that's where we really met Larry Livermore for the first time. And Larry, you've been so great to us. Thank you so much. You opened your door, and thank you. It's like for kids like us and other kids playing and rock and roll bands, and to have that independent spirit, and it's just great. Thank you so much. And I also want to thank all the other people that worked at Lookout Records, like David Hayes, Chris Applegren, and Pat Hines. And which leads me to all the people at Reprise, thank you so much. I have to say we've had a great experience there. So we've been there for 20 years. Thank you so much for everyone that worked in the mailroom, that goes out to try to find bands. What a thankless job. You know, everybody over there, and but most of all, I have to thank Rob Cavallo. We've only worked with 2 producers in our entire career, and Butch Vig did 1 record, so thank you, Butch. But Rob, you did all of it. so much, and I really feel like you are a brother, we are a kindred spirit, and the fact that we could sit around and play songs all day long together and just speak in that language, and I just love to talk about, and love to talk about it with you and stuff, and we'll talk about it later. Thank you, Rob. Pat Mangarella, you're a brave man. You're our manager. I want to apologize for the hotel rooms. I want to apologize for Tre's drum sets catching on fire. I want to, thanks for rehab. And thanks for doing those talks that we were not capable of doing. So thank you. Thanks a lot. I love you. And in closing, so we come from this place that's called Gilman Street. It's a club, and it's in Berkeley. And I am so fortunate, we are so fortunate to be able to play there, because it's a all ages, and it was nonprofit, and it was just all of these goofballs, and it was just like it was like romper room for degenerates. It was so great, and what a great scene, and we got to watch our friends' bands, and they got to watch us play, and they got to heckle us, and we tried to heckle back, and they heckled better. So, and I got to see Operation Ivy, and I got to see Grimshrine, and I got to see Sewer Trout, and Nasal Sex, and these far out there bands, and I am truly fortunate, but I love rock and roll music. I always have. As soon as I opened my eyes and took my first breath, I am a fan. And that's the one thing that I'm going to close with, is that I love rock and roll. I love it. Yes.